What's up, everyone, and welcome back to some more misadventures with Miles Edgeworth. As you can see, Courtney and her so-called prosecutor is with her again. And yeah, that's about it. You know, they're gonna interrupt us as usual. So, let's go. Unlike a certain prosecutor who is taking off the case. Ugh. Oh, my apologies. I had forgotten that you were assisting the defense attorney. An assistant can never be the best. You've fallen like the rest. You just say whatever you like, don't you? Let us begin our examination of the courtyard, Sebastian. All right, I'll call the men over. That would be unnecessary. What? We have already finished the investigation of the courtyard. You've been bested. Bested? Me? Judge Courtney. Your reasoning from yesterday. Watch me shatter it to pieces. Wow, way to go ahead and just go into this, aren't you, Edgeworth? I would advise you to choose your words more carefully. Have you forgotten that the fate of your badge rests in my hands? Edgeworth's like, yeah. I've had enough of such coercion. Can't you think of some other way to threaten me that does not involve my badge? Despite my repeated warnings, you show no signs of reflection. It seems I must remind you once more. The Prosecutorial Investigation Committee can't leave someone such as yourself unchecked. Neither the fate of my badge nor the actions of the committee will impede my progress, proving Mr. Key's innocence. That is all that concerns me. Your words are like those of a defense attorney. If you are willing to go that far, then I will show no leniency. In the name of the goddess of law, I shall turn your words against you, and at that moment, forfeit the title of prosecutor. You shall regret this. Ouch. Jesus Christ, you're like demonic! I shared my reasoning with you the day before. Sir, since Mr. Elba did not see the body when he passed through the tunnel, it could only have been dropped down the well during the show. The only one who could have performed such an act is the suspect. Naturally, you have evidence to support your reasoning. Of course she does! Who do you think she is? Earlier, I received the official autopsy report. Babysitting that kid must be difficult. The time of death was the night before the body was discovered. In other words, the day before the show. The cause of death remains unchanged, a stab wound 4 inches deep. Yay! Now we have a full autopsy. Simon Keyes was not present on the stage for the period of 15 minutes. There was sufficient time for him to drop the body down the well. She has not investigated the courtyard yet. That means... It seems there is a hole in your argument. You seem quite confident. Can you present evidence to support your claim? Of course I can, and I will. Well, alright. Alright, since I got the request last time, I will press everything. So you continue to believe Mr. Keyes is the murderer? Just as you continue to speak as if he is not. Do you have any decisive evidence? Do you know the identity of the true criminal? You do realize you need proper evidence too. I am a representative of the goddess of law. My words are her holy orders. Oh, bullshit. Indeed, if I state something is black, it is black. If I state something is white, it is white. So what would you call gray? If you wish to disprove my words, then present your evidence at once. My god, that was so much bullshit. Wouldn't it be possible that Elba just failed to notice the body? Miss Assistant's assistant, did you also enter the hole? Miss Assistant's assistant. Huh? How'd you know? I noticed that there was some mud stuck on your lovely hair ornament yesterday. That's amazing! Your powers of observation would even put a great thief to shame! In the name of the goddess of law, answer me truthfully. If there were a dead body in that tunnel, would it have escaped your notice? Well, the thing is, yeah, I think I would have noticed something like that. Do you understand now? Mr. Elber did not see the body. It could only have been dropped down the well during the show. Boo. The body was dropped down the well during the show. I'd like to hear your reasoning for this. The day before the show, Mr. Elbert lent the key to Mr. Knightley. The key to Knightley's cell, huh? Mr. Knightley's escaped from his cell with the key and entered the cage Mr. Keyes had prepared. Mr. Keyes then moved the cage to the courtyard and proceeded to murder Mr. Knightley. The next day, when Mr. Elbert passed through the tunnel, he did not come across the body. Please wait a minute. That doesn't seem right at all. Wasn't there a sweet smell in the tunnel? Mr. Knightley must have passed through it. Mr. Knightley passed through the tunnel after Mr. Elbert did. Mr. Elbert passed through the tunnel at the start of the show. However, the body wasn't found until the end of the show. Which is why you believe the body was dropped during the show. Yes, and there is only one person who could have carried out this act. The only one who could have performed such an act is the suspect. There is no one else who could have committed the murder. I heard that Miss Barry was present on stage at all times. A great number of the prisoners were also watching the show. Even the prisoners who did not see it have sufficient alibis. How about the guards? Along with the warden, nearly everyone was watching the show. But there must have been a chance for even one of them to approach the well. During the show, none of the guards left their post. That much is certain. They all testified as such. Ugh, she's left no room for oversight. Do you finally admit that only Simon Keyes could have been the criminal? No. Judge Courtney has not thoroughly examined the courtyard we all have. So there's a bit of a gap in our argument, right? I should review the evidence we obtained in the courtyard. Alright, so now we're resetting the whole thing. We're going to present Simon's device, on this one here. There we go. Objection! Take that! Unfortunately for you, Judge Courtney, your argument doesn't hold any water, just like the well. There was a device set up around the well here. What is this device of which you speak? Are you aware of the stunt in which Mr. Keyes is blown away by the elephant during the show? I have heard of it. It would have been right before he exits the stage. He tied one end of the length of rope to himself, and the other end to a set of weights. He was able to perform the stunt by dropping these weights down the well. Wouldn't he have spent the whole place suspended up in air? Well, that's why he had a stopper attached to the weighted end. The stopper was removed by pulling another rope. Around the well, we found evidence that the weights were switched with the victim's body. This was done by the real killer in order to shift suspicion away from them. Judging from the time of death, the murder was carried out in the early morning of the show. The true criminal had until the time the show started to set up the device. But didn't Simon Keyes make that thing? And since he was also the one who used it, he is the best suspect. Don't you agree? If Mr. Keyes were the murderer, he would not have needed to do that. Miss Barry. Yes? Was there anyone else who knew of the device he set up? Well, let me see. Since we had to get everything about our show approved by the prison people here at the prison, I'd say there were others who knew about it. And there you have it. I see. You have indeed performed a thorough investigation, which is why I am even further perplexed. Why do you not use your efforts for justice? My actions are not just. You've made that decision. You cannot understand even that, even now. providing support to a defense attorney despite being a prosecutor. It is quite unnatural. This goes against the rules. I am merely choosing to do what I think is right at this particular time. I've traveled down the road I have chosen. Your comprehension does not matter in the least. However, if anyone intends to interfere, I will show no mercy. Perhaps this is a calling from the goddess of law. If you intend to rebel against her divine will, I will have no choice but to hand down my verdict. Pay heed to my words. I have one more reason to suspect Simon Keyes of murder. Oh boy. If the body came from the courtyard, how was Mr. Knightley brought here from the detention center? Only Simon Keyes could have provided such an opportunity. Because of this fact, I find it most difficult to suspect any other party of this crime. While Simon Keyes was moving supplies for the show, he visited Mr. Knightley's cell. Does that not strike you as odd? Why else would he have brought a large covered cage with him? Oh, that does seem pretty suspicious. Mr. Keyes was merely that kind of person. It is entirely possible that he carelessly brought it here. If that is possible, then it is also possible that he was assisting in the escape. Am I wrong? Suppose I must refute her theory with evidence. Alright, here we go again. Rebuttal! Pressing on everything! If the body came from the courtyard, you seem to believe that Knightley was killed in the courtyard. So, can you say when he was brought here? On the day of the show, between midnight and 8 a.m. I am positive it could only have been during that time. So after rehearsal had ended and before the show began. The most pressing issue is, how was Mr. Knightley brought here from the detention center? Are you certain there were no other routes? A trial date had not yet been determined for Mr. Knightley. Since he was not a prisoner, he could not have easily entered the prison. He would have stood out too much, meaning no one testified seeing him there. Well done. May you be blessed by the goddess of law. As I said, Mr. Knightley was taken into the prison through a less conspicuous matter. I'm going to pass this because we do have to press this to continue. Because of this fact, I find it most difficult to suspect any other party of this crime. Maybe I won't read those things over and over again. No other suspects. Are you serious? If I had to say, Miss Barry also seems suspicious. What? But I didn't do anything like that. Regina! You do know you are being suspected of murder, right? Yeah, but I didn't do it. It would take much more than that to scare a wild animal tamer. I know you did not. It was merely a jest. Oh, really? That's what I figured. These two don't look jovial in the least. Mr. Keyes was not the only one with the opportunity. If I can prove that with evidence, I can break this deadlock. Alright, now we're gonna go back to pressing about Simon. Are you certain that he was the only person who had the opportunity? Have you forgotten? This is a prison. Due to the constant supervision, it would be impossible to do anything unusual. Are you sure? Then wouldn't it be the same for Mr. Keyes? The warden has shown favor to the very big circus. Simon Keyes is a circus member, Miss Barry's apprentice, no less. It could only have been him. He was able to move out freely within the facility. Are you sure it's just him? It seems that you forgot to mention that. The word forget does not exist in my dictionary. Oh, jeez. Then it would be prudent for you to add this to your argument. Mr. Keyes may have been the only person who could move around for freely in the prison. But on the day of the murder, there was a gap in time missing from the surveillance records. Excuse me. During that time, anyone could have done as they pleased. Do I have proof of this gap in the surveillance records? Yes, you do. As soon as I find it.